watching this video, you're now locked in and learning with Vel. Now in today's video, guys, we are going to break down how to understand the daily bias. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with the ICT concepts, but you may not have spent the time going through the hours upon hours of videos where he just explains things that really he probably could have told you in 10 minutes. So in this video, we're going to try and get this wrapped up in under 10 minutes, breaking down the daily bias. Let's go. Okay, so we can see here right now that I'm on a weekly time frame. Okay, it's always important for you guys to have a look at the higher time frames. Some people will tell you they're not important. Higher time frames are king. Okay, if we have a look here on a monthly time frame, we can see we're pulling back. If we have a look here on a weekly time frame, we can see we're actually pushing. So what usually happens is the smaller time frame will show you a different picture to the larger one. So for example, this picture is bearish. Of course, this picture is bullish, right? So the monthly, it shows you that the monthly's had a pullback, okay? And the weekly at the moment, it shows you that actually they're currently pushing higher, okay? We're gonna focus around the weekly and the daily time frame for this video, and we always wanna find out what direction the market is going. To do that, we wanna find out, are we making higher highs and higher lows, or are we making lower lows and lower highs, or are we just consolidating, okay? In this case, we can see here, we've pushed up, we've come down, okay? We had a higher high here, price came down, took out the previous higher lows, structure changed. Since then, since this low here, price has not closed above this high, okay? So right now, you can say that we're still bearish. Even though we've had this little kerfuffle inside of here, we're still bearish because we haven't exceeded past the previous high, okay? So for that instance, with price now coming down, the question becomes this: with the liquidity right here, does price come up to come down and take out the liquidity, or does price just continue pushing down lower now? Okay, only time will tell. But for you guys, a hack that is going to be very handy and helpful for you guys is when you have having a look at the daily bias, okay, you have to understand the daily bias is something that you shouldn't be looking at for the present or previous day. You should be looking at this as an overall picture, okay? We look at an overall picture, we see what's been happening in the recent trend, and then we see what's been happening in the overall picture, okay? The overall picture shows us that price has been going higher, right? But then we failed to make a new high, okay? We then took out this low over here. Price pushed up, failed to make a new high, grabbed the liquidity, and then price started coming down lower. So what that would say to us is now, if we remove these drawings, what that would say to us is, if we can highlight this zone here, okay, we now know this is a bearish schematic, okay? So even though price has responded from here and pushed up and potentially now pushing up, we're going to highlight this whole area and go down to, let's say, the 4-hour time frame. And inside the 4-hour time frame, we want to find areas that can help us sell. Visibility, let's do it on the cool. Okay, so we're going to the 4-hour, and now what we're going to look at in the 4-hour time frame is areas that we could potentially sell from. Okay, now with that being said, we're going to lock this, we're going to move over, and what we're looking at is the lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So we're going to have a look at each lower high. I'm going to mark it out here. One lower high here. Another lower high here. And then we can also see another lower high up here, okay? Now, all this is going to do for us is this going to give us an opportunity. We see another lower high right here, okay? Price is currently there right now. All this is going to do is this is going to give us a chance to understand that when price plays into these areas, we want to pay attention to see what happens, okay? Price pushes into this area. If it fails to close above it, it wicks it like what we've currently seen here. This can be an indication to us that price is not closing above. It's only coming up to grab the liquidity and then come down lower. Meaning, guys, by understanding the daily bias, okay, with it being bearish, it means now that we're going to be waiting for price to reach these zones, okay, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, before we think about selling. Okay, sometimes you guys will build your bias and say, okay, well, because we're bullish now, we're going to continue buying. If you go off of what happened yesterday, or off of the start of the week's price action with this big bullish candle, some people would have just bought just based off of the fact that this had a huge bullish candle. But over the past 2 days, what's happened? We've gone nowhere. We've just consolidated. So it's important to understand sometimes it's better for you to wait for the sell than it is for you to try and get into a buy. Some of you will say, but Vel, if I'm going to sell up here, then why don't I wait? Why don't I wait? Why don't I buy a price up there? If I'm looking to sell up here, why don't I wait? Why don't I buy up until there and then get into a sell? The reason why you won't do that is because it's not clear enough for you to get into a buy. It's not clear enough, okay? The picture is clearer for you to get into a sell in these areas because of these specific candles. Therefore, it's going to be important for us to stay consistently patient and wait for the sell, okay? Now, I'm going to go back over to the daily time frame, and we're going to see that on the daily, we can't see much lower highs apart from this one over here. The rest of these, we can't see a lower high. Okay, so it's quite clear to understand that on the smaller time frames, the picture is going to be different. And that's what you're looking for, guys. You're looking for the picture to be different because that's going to give you a better indication. Okay, when price gets into these areas, we need to wait and see what happens. Okay, meaning we need to wait to see what price does. Does price decide to push through the area? Does price consolidate in the zone? Does price start to wick the zone like what we've seen here? Whichever action happens is going to give us a chance to react. We're not just going to try to foresee something happening. So, of course, naturally, guys, I think it's really important when you're looking at any time frame to understand the bigger picture. Okay, when I look at trading any pairs, okay, I look at the bigger picture. Okay, cool. Price has just come all the way down now, so it doesn't mean I want to get into a sell. In actual fact, price could be pushing up now to make a new higher high. But the bias right now is definitely bearish, so we can't ignore that. So unless we can find other reasons to buy, for example, okay, if price pushes up, closes above this zone here, okay, if it pushes up and retests this area, well, the structure's changed from bearish to bullish, which would give us an opportunity to be bullish up until the next level of structure. Okay, we would need for price to close above this level and then retest it in order for us to buy and push up. Okay, so each time we revisit a level of structure, you've got to think to yourself, okay, I was bullish down here up until this level, but here price could just come down. And because price could drop from this level here, it means, guys, that it makes more sense for you to look at selling from these zones than to buy up into these zones, because price may not even make those zones, right? So if you are trying to go against the grain, going against the daily bias, then just have an expectancy of understanding that the trade may not be long-term. It might be a short-lived trade. These trades can be profitable. Okay, now I've got, other things on this chart, like these green levels and these blue zones, which obviously indicate different things to me, which would give me a reason to buy in this case, which you guys are going to find out as you continue to go throughout the academy. So if you've got to the end of this video, that is how to look at the daily bias in under 10 minutes. If you've got to the end of this video, just put in the comment section bias. Okay, let me know that you guys have got to the end. And of course, as always, I'm going to be providing you lot with more videos. Let me know what you think. Love for the love. If you like the video, make sure you like the video. That being said, remember, every day is money day. Peace.